Hello everyone, I'm Andy and I'm bacon powered. First, let me say I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm just telling you what I did because this is my story. It all starts with me being 240 pounds over 6 months ago. In 6 months, I lost 67 pounds doing the ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting, and exercising a lot more. So, how did I do it? That's what I'm going to talk about today. I had tried low carb diets before, such as Atkins, and I had some success, but I really only lasted a few days or maybe a week on those diets, and carb cravings would become too much and I would just go back to it, and then I might lose a few pounds of water weight, but it would always just come right back as soon as I started eating carbs again, and I just couldn't stick with it. The difference this time, though, was something I refer to as my hook. My hook is something that is a little piece of determination that keeps you going with the plan. I got hooked by learning about just how bad sugar was, and going along with sugar, processed oils. I learned that sugar and those oils is basically the cause of. So I started making small changes. Before I fully started the ketogenic diet, I spent the first month with some baby steps. Which is, I guess, month 0, not month 1. But so let's say month 0. I stopped drinking all sodas. I'd already been drinking diet sodas, but sodas in general kind of made me crave more sweets, so I thought it wasn't a good idea. I also stopped with the candy, and it was Christmas time, so I still had normal Christmassy foods, just not candy while I was driving. It's all as much candy as I had, and no soda. And during that month, I learned what sugar and carbohydrates and processed oils do to a person, and how they're causing all the troubles I seem to be having, or seem to be building up to having. I typically eat every day a high amount of fat, a moderate amount of protein, and very few or no carbs per day. A lot of times that means a lot of bacon, hence the name bacon powered. Steaks, a lot of broccoli, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, and olive oils, avocado oils, coconut oils. A lot of times I will use the bacon grease that I create when I eat bacon, and cook some broccoli in that bacon grease and salt it up good, and basically it makes the broccoli taste really good, even though I like broccoli anyway, but that helps. I have a lot of avocados, a lot of steaks, not as much chicken because there's not as much fat on it, and fat is the primary source of intake for a person on the ketogenic diet. So what did I do? I did the ketogenic diet, which is high fat, moderate protein, very low or no carbs, intermittent fasting, and just a bunch of physical activity, including walking, P90X, and just overall physical activity. I think all three pieces were more or less pretty close to equal. Diet and nutrition being at least 2/3 of the effort, and physical activity being the other third. But the diet and nutrition piece is split up, and I think pretty evenly between the ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting. Basically, the whole point of intermittent fasting is to have long periods of no insulin spikes. And it's kind of the same thing with the ketogenic diet, having long periods of no insulin spikes. So if you're able to get in all of your energy intake in a small window in the form of fat and protein and maybe some carbs from vegetables, then that's kind of the gist. The intermittent fasting basically means the long windows of not eating at all. In layman's terms, no more snacking. So I started out with a 12-hour fast, which is basically includes the sleeping time, but I wouldn't eat anything after 8 o'clock. And that means that between 8 and 8 I could eat, and when I did eat, I stayed in the ketogenic diet and basically had very little insulin. So it was kind of like a whole day of low insulin. But when I did take in food, it was high fat, high protein. And that gave me some results immediately, mostly from the low insulin spikes. Insulin is basically the storage hormone. When you don't have that, then you're not storing fat. Simple as that. But I wanted more results, better results, so eventually I kind of upgraded to 16-hour fast, which is an 8-hour eating window, and I would eat between about noon and 8. And then when you upgrade it further, you could bring it down to a 6-hour window, maybe eat between noon and 6 or 10 and 4. And that worked out with my work schedule. I would eat a little bit before work and then eat again on my lunch break. So it kind of naturally got into the 18-hour fast, 6-hour feeding window. When it comes to exercise, the first month when I actually started doing the ketogenic diet, I actually didn't really exercise any extra at all. I still felt like I was not able to. Maybe I just didn't feel like it. So I lost about 15 pounds in the first month. A lot of that was probably water weight, but I hadn't exercised at all. So that's just kind of proof that diet can certainly help even without exercise. But into the second month, into when I started February, I started walking around the neighborhood, and I chose a particular lap, the same one I'm doing right now. It's about a half-hour walk and about 1.5 miles. And at first I would just do 1 lap, and then I would do 2, and then like if I was feeling spry that day, I would do 3. And eventually even 3 became insufficient, and I felt like I needed more. And I would just naturally go with how I felt. If I felt like doing more, I would do more. If I wasn't feeling up to it, I wouldn't. And there's more to exercise than just calories in, calories out. In fact, that's completely wrong. I can go into that in a different video. But there's more to exercise than that. There's a therapeutic mental benefit of just walking and being out in nature. There's the benefit of having sun on your skin, getting that vitamin D. A lot of people are deficient in vitamin D because they're not out in the sun. They're even told to stay out of the sun, and if you are, wear sunscreen. But that's humans' primary source for vitamin D. The sunlight goes onto your skin, interacts with the fats in your skin, and produces vitamin D. And that's a vital, I think it's actually technically a hormone that has a lot of important mechanisms in your body. But so getting out and just moving your body is one factor. Being in a pleasant outside, environment is another. Getting the sunlight on your skin and the vitamin D going through you, that's another. But there's also the mental, meditative aspect, at least for me. I think everybody needs to find that in whatever workout plan or a healthy lifestyle plan they choose. For me, it's a time to listen to music or an audiobook or catch up on YouTube videos. It's just kind of the time to chill out and just kind of feel good, I guess. And those good feelings, I know it might sound weird, but those good feelings can actually have a positive effect on your body. But in the third month, I amped it up quite a bit. I started doing a abbreviated partial version of P90X. I would still walk every day, every single day, but I incorporated a couple of the days of the weightlifting and push-ups and resistance stuff from a couple of different P90X workouts. And so that would put that on top of the walking a couple of days a week. And I think that's when I started to see some much better results. I didn't do the diet plan that comes with P90X because I already had my own diet plan. And eventually I did complete the whole partial P90X workout, and I continued to drop weight all the time. There's pretty much been a 2 or 3 or 4 pound drop in weight every single week, with the exception of a couple weeks. It's really based on what you're eating, how much you're eating, and how big your eating window is, and how much physical activity. Combined all together, at least having some physical activity, reducing your eating window, not at all snacking, and taking in very, very little carbs is kind of the main recipe that I used. But main idea for this channel is just an overview of what I did. 67 pounds in 6 months, changing diet, eating habits, and getting out and getting some exercise. It really wasn't super intense exercise, just walking. And it was actually entertaining for me because I found ways to keep my mind occupied. Music, podcasts, audiobooks, YouTube videos, something I would have done anyway as soon as I got up in the morning while eating breakfast. But this time I just eat well after my workout, and if I am working out while fasted, I've already been in a fat burning mode, so I'm getting even further benefits by working out at the end of the fast. Once again, more details for a later video. So this is just me telling my story. I will probably be getting into details about various aspects of it in further videos, but wanted to keep it fairly concise for this one. I don't know, I think 67 pounds in 6 months, going from very little activity, eating terribly, to pretty healthy, pretty decent shape right now. I still got to go ways to go. Right now I'm about 173, 172. Started at 240 pounds. And I want to get lean. I've never been lean in my life. I don't know what I look like as like a lean, muscular guy. It's just never happened. And I want to know what I look like. I'm getting close to it though. So I think I'll probably want to lose another 20 pounds or so of fat, and then not sure if I'll want to just stay there and kind of relax on the strictness of my diet, or maybe take it even further and look into some bodybuilding stuff. That's a whole nother realm. Losing a bunch of weight is completely different than gaining a bunch of weight intentionally. But I like learning. I like figuring out. I like to figure out things and investigate and research and find out how things work. So maybe I will do that. But I will hopefully make regular updates to the channel with my progress. And so, to sum up, 67 pounds, 6 months, low carb lifestyle, intermittent fasting, physical activity. Pretty simple, really. It's a pretty good recipe. It worked for me. So feel free to comment. I really appreciate it if you subscribe. If you can, if you could do that, that'd be really helpful. I want to kind of make this a side thing, and maybe make the channel grow, maybe help some people. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, please.